Hi everyone, I'm Sarah, Childhood Finds. We're working on catching up still on the weekly What Sold videos, and we're almost there. By next week, we will be all caught up, and then I will start dedicating time to doing some different videos. And research videos, some haul videos. There's also some other videos that viewers have requested that I have not forgotten about that I also want to work on. So that'll start to be happening next week. And this for the sales this week, it will be September 8th through the 14th, I believe, of 2025. And sales again they were just going that week. Nothing super special, but definitely some stuff to share with you. During that week as well, I also did a gun show with some of my dad's estate, and that worked pretty well. I would have loved to be able to video it and show you some of it, but YouTube does not it is hard to do anything firearm related on YouTube, and I didn't want to have to mess with that. But it did go pretty well. I sold more than I thought I would. There's still lots to do, and we're probably going to do another show come November or so. So we'll see how that goes. At least now we have everything that we would take researched and priced, which is really helpful. It was just a bit slower of a show, but still, it feels good to get some of it out. Some of the stuff that's serialized and has to go through, has other extra steps that I can't just sell on eBay. It was nice to be able to get some of that stuff out. The other thing I have to tell you about this, guys, because we all make mistakes, and I always try to share mine with you because I don't want anybody to feel bad if you make silly oopsies, because I make plenty of oopsies, even though I've been doing this quite a while now. And I was doing my typical end and sell similar. So, what that means, if you don't know, is I go onto eBay and I usually look at my 50 to 100 oldest listings, and then I end all of them, and then I hit sell similar on them to give them a fresh item listing. And sometimes at that time, I will tweak titles or edit photos or change descriptions or edit the price even. And I try to do that a few times a week when I remember. But I had some stuff on my mind and I was not paying attention. And I did 50, ended them. And then I went in and I'm like, oh yeah, I already relisted those and just deleted them. Just permanently deleted 50 listings. And even though I feel completely and utterly silly and ridiculous, it was a dumb mistake. It happens. I figure if that's the worst thing that happens, then I can be grateful for that because I was already planning to do an inventory this winter. So I figure now I really just have to. And some of the items are cross listed. So a few of them have actually sold because I realized once I couldn't find them on eBay, they were definitely ones that got deleted. So that has helped. Um, and also when I do my inventory, because I do cross list, most of them will be in my list perfectly catalog. The only ones I don't put into there are my flatware, so those I will have to redo listings for. But maybe now I should start cross listing them for mistakes like this. Thought. But that is one plus. So most likely I will be able to just go into list perfectly when I find the item, hits, list onto eBay, and then edit the listing and post it. So the photos will still be there, the price, etc. So it could be worse. It's not ideal because it's 50 listings of work and it's going to cause more time and work that I have to put into fixing it. But oops, I was going to do it eventually. It was going to happen eventually. I've almost done it a few times and stopped myself. So it had to happen eventually. Now I really think I probably won't ever do it again, but knock on wood. We'll see. And so starting next week, once I am caught up on what sold, I also will start to get back into telling you all my stats in my store. So how many items I listed, oh, my camera's moving because my puppy, he is down here causing a ruckus. I will tell you how many items I have listed, how many sold on each platform, all of that. So I'll start getting back into the stats this next week. So guys, let's go ahead and just start looking at the sales that I had during September for this week. So looking through these sales, I'll admit it's not the best variety. I actually only have 49 listings that sold on eBay for this week. And that's not my ideal. I'd really love to be up a little higher, but I am hoping come October it'll get better. It's also kind of on me. I haven't listed quite as many as I was for the last couple weeks before this, so that's partly why sales aren't as good. So it's just something I have to improve. But we're going to start with the Department 56. I have very little of this left, but a tiny bit. I'm hoping the rest of it will go out during this holiday season. And this is a lighted jack-o'-lantern tree, and it's sold for the $18.95. This is Gianni Versace Designer Wool Blend, yarn lot of 10. I ended up taking a best offer of 35. I honestly wish I waited for a little bit more, but I keep thinking I'd rather have the money now to move towards the next buy, and plus I have very little into all my yarn, so I might as well just move it, and it does take up some space when you have this many skeins in one lot. So I've really tried to get into that mentality this year because I used to be that person that would wait for every penny and price high, but now I am so focused on pricing well and then giving good deals. And then this is a Manhattan Toy Company Rex puppy dog, and it sold for the $16.95. I got this, I think, at a thrift store for $1 or $2. This is two Simply Vera Wang King pillowcases, Pima cotton, 800 thread count, and it sold for, I believe this one did sell for $40. I don't think it was an offer. I've sent a lot of offers, and sometimes that doesn't always show up for me when I do these videos, but I believe it sold for $40, and I got this for, I think, $5 or so at an estate sale. This I picked up at Goodwill for $15. I checked it at the Goodwill, and it was pretty much, it was an open box condition. It still had the plastic, had never been used, and it was a Star Wars Mandalorian helmet, Scentsy warmer, open box, unused, Disney. And so it sold for $60. I always keep my eye out for Scentsy. Some of them can be retired or more uncommon to find, and so some of the prices can surprise you. So it's definitely, Scentsy's definitely it's definitely worth keeping an eye out for and checking. This is Agatha Christie's Marple, the Geraldine McEwen collection, and it sold for a best offer of $30. And I always try to keep my eye out for Acorn Media. Acorn Media is going to be for the British television shows that aren't typically as widely available here. So I always keep my eye open for those. I've made really good money off of Acorn Media pieces. This one I have to tell you about. It's an Aurora horse plush 10-inch stuffed animal, sounds galloping and neighs, saddle with tag. This sold for best offer of $14. This went international, and you know how it pops up how much someone has spent? They spent nearly $90 total, which makes me kind of sad that it costs them so much with the international shipping program to ship. I personally won't ship any other way internationally, but I do wish it was more affordable for buyers, because you can't tell me this $14 item that fits in a 12.96 box would take that much. That would take that much to ship. But besides that, it did sell for $14, and someone is hopefully going to be very happy with it for what they spent. The next three went to the same buyer for a total of $125. I believe it was 12 pieces. This is Gracious Goods Collection Acanthus Fleur de Lis stainless soup spoons. So they bought these soup spoons, then this other set of soup spoons, and a set of 4 salad forks, and paid $125 for all 3 of those lots. I've sold a box very, very similar to this previously, and I found another one, and this is an Antique Arts and Crafts hammered copper or brass metal box 4-section, and my mother-in-law actually did find this one, and it sold for $65. This is the 42nd Annual Grammy Awards Program publication, February 2000. This I took a best offer of $20 for, and this was probably listed for about a year because I got this at the Goodwill for $8.99, I believe. This is an NBA 2K private label limited edition travel sneaker laptop duffel bag. And this was kind of one of those promo items. It sold for, I believe it was an offer of right around $90 to $91, and I was totally happy with that. I got this from my source, and it was one of those moments where I had a box that was perfect for it, Nothing beats that moment because I was gonna have to craft a box for this because it was large and I didn't want to just throw it in a poly mailer for this item, and it was perfect and it just felt so nice. Here's another one of my manuals, and it's a 1929 to 1955 Chevrolet car and truck parts and accessory catalog. This one I believe sold for a best offer of $30. I put as is again because it's not pretty. I've talked about these in my other What Sold. The manuals don't always have to be pretty to sell. This was an assortment. It's a Caterpillar advertising promo lot, tie clips, pins, money clip, buckle lot of 14. It was just all those little things that, sure, I could have parted this out and made a few bucks on each item, but I just put it all together and it ended up selling for $38.59 all together in one go, which I was much happier with. This is Stanley Roberts Arosa teaspoons with wood inlay, Japan. It was 6 of them and sold for $13.75. This was a Sarah Coventry pinwheel brooch and clip-on and clip-on earring set, silver tone, faux pearl. I got this at a yard sale, I believe for 50 cents the set, and it sold for $14.67. It took probably 6+ months to sell, but it's very small. Here is Shepjizwool. I don't know how you say that. Flame fine 100% wool, 10 skeins. It had peacock colors, so I just put that in the title because it was very fun. But it sold for $45.95. I've had this yarn listed now for about almost going on 3 months, I think. This is one to look for. This is a $15.99 Geneva Bible, gilded black bonded leather. Even the hardcover one can be one to look for. I believe the price has gone down on the hardcover one since I sold it last, because I used to be able to sell the hardcover for $80-ish, but I think it's gone down. But the Geneva Bible is definitely one to look for. This sold within a week for $48.95. This is an original Angus Young Songbook Technique Guide guitar tab, and I picked this up at an estate sale where I got a bunch of this kind of item, and it was 50 cents for each one, and it sold for a best offer of 10% off of this, so around $16-ish. This is Avon Lefrog small gold tone frog pierced earrings with box, and number 2 is in the title because that's how I do my listings that I have multiple of if I'm not doing a quantity listing, and that's just to let eBay know it's not a duplicate, because otherwise they will not post it if they think it's a duplicate listing. And this sold for a best offer of $12. This is Wish Pets Elephant Seal 9-inch plush 2006 stuffed animal. Wish Pets is one of those, if you can find them with tags, some of them can be worth a decent amount. This sold for $20.19, and I think I paid $1 or $2 at a Goodwill for it. But it has been listed for probably a year and a half or so. This is a Caterpillar watch fob keychain lot of 6. I got this with all the other Caterpillar stuff I showed in that lot. So I just made a ton of listings with multiple items in each one because I could have sold all these one by one, but it just wasn't the best move, I don't think. So this sold for $20.19. This is Christian Prayer, the Liturgy of the Hours, 1976 Catholic Book Publishing Company, and this sold for $30.31. I got this at a Goodwill, or no, Salvation Army for a couple of bucks. This I got at an estate sale in a little bulk lot. It's a Hallmark keepsake ornament magical mixer 2023 kitchen cooking. This wasn't listed for very long, but it sat in my death pile for probably 8+ months. But I listed it now because Christmas time. This is the time to get the holiday stuff, so I've been trying to work on that especially. But it sold for $9.95. This I just got at a yard sale, and it's a Netgear wireless access point dual radio router. So even though maybe the technology seems like it's a little more like there's bigger and better now, because I believe this was a bit older, it still was sealed, so I looked it up and it sold for $27.55, and it probably took a week to sell. So anytime, it's just worth looking it up when it's sealed, especially at $5. It's worth the gamble. This is a golden replicas of the stamps of the century, one binder, 60+ stamps, and this sold for $30.31. This I wasn't sure how it was going to do because in these kind of albums, they are personalized to the person. So I didn't know how they would go, but it ended up selling within a few weeks. This is Oneida Patrick Henry dinner fork, 7¼ inch stainless flatware set of 4, and it sold for a 10% off offer on this, so around $36 or so. This is Levtex Brown Deer Baby Security Blanket Lovey, and this sold for $10.99. I'd say this had been listed for, but judging by the picture, probably 2 years, and I'm okay with that. We just have a couple more, definitely a shorter video because I just don't have as much to share with you. But hopefully that will change come October and fourth quarter season. This is Mario and Luigi Partners in Time Nintendo Power Official Strategy Guide. This sold for a 10% off offer, so around $10.50-ish. And this is the last item, and this is Arbonne Intelligence Not So Basic Skincare Daily Cleanser, and it sold for $20, or it sold for the $19.95. So guys, that's all I have to share with you for this what sold, but I will be catching up on the very last of it in the next video, and I'm about to film a small haul video. Cue small, because again, sourcing hasn't been amazing, but I'm trying to keep moving, so I'm going to still do some haul videos because it's not always about the home runs. It's about the everyday and the bread and butter items that keep you going. So guys, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one.